All right, November 2020 layout update. Here we go. November was a pretty busy month. Got quite a bit done, a few videos shot, but my big goal was I wanted to get Burmis taken care of here. Burmis is where I first laid code 55 to test it years ago. And I'd also laid ballast down and laid down some rough scenery just with some latex paint over top of it and some ground foam sprinkled in just for some color. But as I'm working my way up the hill from Tunnel 5, getting closer and closer to this area, it was time to go at it. So that's what November was try to get Burmis straightened away. I knew I wanted to have a little bit of an industry in here, and all it was going to be was just a little backtrack and a spur, and the spur was going to be for loading logs. So plywood I'd thrown down earlier, and I'd thrown that spur down some time ago, but I wanted to kind of move everything. So here I am just going at it with a rasp and a drywall saw, getting the styrofoam, the existing styrofoam, shaped down so that I can tie it into the new stuff here. I also moved the spur. I wasn't happy with where the spur was, so moved it closer to the backdrop, as you can see here, and I've got my styrofoam down. The sculpt mold you can see in the foreground, that's where I'd gotten to, as I mentioned in the October update. So we're just laying some Sculptamold down here, tying everything together. If you're not familiar with Sculptamold or Celluclay, Celluclay is what I use. It's the same basic stuff. It's just pre-mixed paper mache. You just add water and stir it up. Makes a fantastic scenery base and really holds everything together, and it's nice and stiff when all is done. So just going at it here, what I'm doing is I'm carving in a road into the styrofoam here with a rough rasp. And that's just going to be a little access road to the front. You can see where everything's kind of carved out there. And I want to put a crossing in here, level crossing, so I'm just cutting the fascia off nice and level, and there's going to be a level crossing over 2 tracks here, and that's how you're going to access this little spur track here. The entire area that I want to get done, I'm kind of shooting for the end of the year to have this not necessarily finished scenery, but at least well on its way. Burmis is a 27-foot long siding, so it's pretty ambitious to try to get this all done by the end of the year, but we're going to shoot for it here. So what I'm doing here is I'm just trying to emulate an eroded slope. So what I'm doing is I'm just taking one of my homemade uncoupling picks and scraping some erosion lines into the wet Sculptamold. And what I do afterwards is I'll go over the top edge and I'll just kind of make a little bit of a prow over the top so it looks like material, grass, bed, whatever you want to call it, that's hanging over the top and the material's eroded out from underneath it. So the October update, I showed you the marsh scene at the east siding switch Burmis. We're continuing on west here. We got a little bit more color in, and I'm putting another little marsh scene in the opposite corner. So we got slackwater in the front, backwater marsh in the background there. Backwater marsh, kind of an interesting gig here, is that unless you're 5'10", you're not even going to see this. You can't see over the track. But I put it in anyway because it's kind of a neat little scene. So we continue on here. You can see as we sweep to the west that I've got some more stuff done. I'm starting to get more color in. I got the industry track moved, the spur track, and I put a hillside in the back, and we're coming across. The road is starting to take shape, little foreground road, little truck on the road there in front of that scene that I showed you about with the erosion. And I got the ballast down. I got most of the static grass down, first layer of texture as far as ground cover down, and as we get closer here, I added a little hillside. And we just want a little bit of an elevation change. Trees are just there temporary, obviously. I still got to paint backdrop, about 40 feet of backdrop to go. But there's that hillside. If you guys are interested in that, I did document how I built that, so I could do a quick video up if you're interested on how I built that little hillside. What I'm really shooting for in December here is to continue the scene across. This is the Crow's Nest River crossing. Back track is the siding, front track is the main line. I want to get this done. If I can get this done, I got about 140 feet of continuous scenery done. So this is looking towards, that's Highway 3 in the background there, and that is the west siding switch at Burmis at mile 49.9. Also had a few trees left over from that tree making tutorial video that I shot a while back there, so I planted a few more trees atop of Drybar Alley here. mile 46.65, which is kind of getting it a little bit closer to being done. Okay, we'll call November a wrap. See what shakes out for December. Hopefully I can get a little bit more work done, and stay safe, take care, and we will talk to everyone soon. All right, thanks for watching. Bye now.